Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Left of Str8 Show interviews, the premier podcast that shares the stories of our amazing LGBTQ community and, of course, fantastic straight allies, all from entertainment, foodies, books, music, and advocacy. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and let's start talking. Well, welcome everyone to today's episode where I have the pleasure of talking with the incredibly talented Danish singer and songwriter Asbjorn is here. Known for pushing boundaries both musically and lyrically, Asbjorn's work has been deeply personal and impactful. His newest album, The Secret Our Bodies Hold, takes us on an intimate journey exploring themes of identity, vulnerability, and the stories we carry within ourselves. As an openly LGBTQ artist, Asbjorn continues to inspire a global audience, blending pop, electronic beats, and heartfelt lyrics to create music that is as danceable as it is thought-provoking. We can't wait to dive into his career, his latest project, and everything that's next for him. But first, take a look.
Don't ask me to dance, no. I'm keeping the secret that our bodies hold. I heard you found someone else, no. Now you're spinning around in a new pair of arms, and I will dance with myself forever. He never needs to know. He's dancing so well, but I'm better. I'm sure you got plenty else together, so you gotta let it go. He's dancing so well, but I'm better. Yeah, he's dancing so well, I'm better. Yeah, he's dancing so well, I'm better. His hand in the strobe, oh. Bodies get closer but painfully slow. I'm spinning out of control, no. Near his movement till I can go home, and I will dance with myself forever. He never needs to know. He's dancing so well, but I'm better. I'm sure you got plenty else together, so you gotta let it go. He's dancing so well, but I'm better. Yeah, he's dancing so well, I'm better. Yeah, he's dancing so well, I'm better. Wow, he's dancing so well, I'm better. Yeah, he's dancing so well, I'm better. Nah, don't you tell him. As long as we keep it between you and I, he's alright.
All right, we are back. That is He's Dancing So Well from my special guest in studio today. Asbjorn is here. Asbjorn, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Scott. Thank you. I'm just done with another day of school touring, which is something that I do quite a lot. I play up to 100 shows every year at public schools to both give the teens a huge like pop smack in the face, but also some different kind of smacks in the face, like talking about identity and how it is to be a different kind of boy or human, and exactly that time in your life being a teenager and being in public school. It's the most chaotic time. We all
Right.
know that. So I wanted to try and make things, contribute to making things a little bit easier maybe than it was for myself when I was that age.
I love that. We were talking about that off air. I think that's so important. And as I was doing my research, I was kind of scrolling through your Facebook, and you have some great posts about all the different experiences you've had with the kids and everything. And you're just so upfront and honest with your feelings, which I absolutely love. You're in studio today from the beautiful Denmark. I got a great background behind you. Oh man, gorgeous there. You need the rest, my friend. I'm glad you have a time to take in the view and relax. This new album is fantastic. We're going to get into that in just a bit. But tell me a little bit about growing up. Tell me, where in the country did you grow up, and what kind of a kid were you?
Well, I grew up on the countryside, and definitely had a pretty. I learned to run fast as a kid. I was a huge fan of Spice Girls and Britney and Christina Aguilera and Destiny's Child and all the Disney princesses. And I, primarily like to wear dresses and have t-shirts on for a wig and pretend I had long hair until I actually managed to get it for real. Um, but I mean, my saving grace being in a public school and definitely learning to run fast was that I'm raised at this kind of art school we have in Denmark, where it's a boarding school for grown-ups, and they study whatever they are most passionate about and live there and become friends and stay there for 6 months. So I was raised in the middle of this kind of school and had this fellowship with those students who luckily were able to kind of boost my confidence and made me feel that I was completely okay as I was. So that's been highly influential, I think, in terms of standing by myself and believing in myself, and something that I've you know kind of I needed in my childhood, but I've definitely also needed it in my life in the music industry.
That's so cool. I love that. And I love that you're an openly out and proud LGBTQ performer. Talk about that journey. When did you start coming out to yourself? And when do you think you first kind of find an LGBTQ tribe?
Well, I kind of came out, I think, when I was 12 years old, or that was when I knew that was a part of me, at least. And I think as most as a lot of other uh, people, I just tested the waters and did all kinds of things and kissed on whoever wanted to kiss me for a while, and then I guess when I was 19 and had my first real relationship with a boy, I felt like, okay, this clicks,
Mm.
this feels right. So yeah.
And
And I
has the
guess,
music industry in your area been very open and affirming for that? Has it been a little tougher, pretty much the same as anybody goes through? What's it been like? Where did you feel? Did you find a good tribe in music or just in your friend circle?
well, I mean, I think contrary to what many people's impression of Denmark is, it wasn't a very open industry when I entered it. We're definitely advanced in some ways, but there's definitely there was definitely this quite homophobic
Mm.
industry at the time, and many record label boss told me everything that they think I needed to change in order to be a pop star.
Wow.
So that obviously was a huge bummer in the beginning, but then I realized, hey, I can actually, like, if they want to change so many things about me, then maybe I should do things a different way. And that's when I started my own label. And yeah, and really I've only been working with people ever since that, were cool with how I am.
Right.
So in that aspect, I think I've been pretty like shielded from the general industry, because I've created my own little tribe with collaborators. And since then I didn't really come across directly
Gotcha.
homophobia in the industry, but I know it's been there. I know it
Right.
from many other people who have navigated from the inside of those, of the music industry. Yeah, but I do think it's a lot better now, is my
Yeah.
impression. I think we've had so many global pop stars by now who have paved the way and kind of pulled us out of that post-AIDS
Right.
drought that we've all suffered under.
Well
Yeah.
said. Yeah.
Mm.
I love that. And talk to me about this musicality. When did you start finding your voice? And I'm sure it's kind of expanded throughout the years, but when did you first kind of felt you had a talent for it? When did it become a passion for you? Talk about your musical journey.
Well, it started super early on. Both of my parents are musicians and were music
Oh,
teachers as well. So it's been a very kind of, everything has been a musical in my life from pretty early on. But I started writing songs with my mom. She was playing the piano, and I would sit next to her, and I would, make songs about how much I wanted a hamster for Christmas or something. And then basically I would, say, "Nah, mom, that chord needs to be sadder," and she would, change from a major chord to a minor chord, and we would kind of write songs together like that.
I
But
love that.
then I remember when my best friend kind of broke up with me when I was
Mm.
around 10. That's when I wrote my first like song on my own, where I just needed to process this loss of him, and it became this really, really sad and beautiful song. And the beautiful thing was, it really helped. I
Nice.
kind of, that was what I needed in order to kind of process everything. And from then on, I guess I was just hooked, and constantly used songwriting as a tool to deal with whatever things were difficult in my life. And that hasn't changed ever since.
I absolutely love that, and I just love the way you approach a song and the different aspects of it. Like I said, this album is amazing. I remember I think kind of came in contact with your music back in June when you were working with Brimheim and you brought together the song we're going to close out with. And I just thought it was so much fun. So I started following along, and Child of the City is one of my favorites. And
Yeah.
I love the kind of journey that you've had and these personal lyrics. I can tell how you started writing like that because they do have this great danceability, but they tell a story. So it's just amazing. Do you kind of approach songs through that story first, something that you're feeling, or do you get a lyric, or do you get a melody stuck in your head, or is it a little bit depends on the song?
First up, fantastic, Scott, to hear these reflections. That's amazing. I really appreciate that. Um, in terms of my process, it's for this album particularly. It's been um, this this constant shift between body and emotion. So
Mm.
I think I have this thing where often in my lyrics I say way more than I'm comfortable with actually sharing, and it's always been like this for me, that whenever I don't dare to say something, I just need to find my body, I need to find a way to dance it out too, because when I dance it, I become braver. So this shift between emotion and body is the pinnacle point of the creative process on this album. And quite like actually completely literally, I've danced the productions to life. So it would go like this. I've maybe written part of a lyric, I've maybe made an like a small guitar loop, or and some melodies, and then I basically stand up, I turn that demo all the way up, and I start moving and just like searching for what my body wants to do to this tiny grain of an idea. And then I analyze that and kind of, oh, okay, so my shoulder moves like this and my hip does like this, and there's this like feeling of wanting to be dragged forward in a specific way. And then I translate that into sound and start producing from what my body tells the music to do, basically. So doing this back and forth, it becomes this really weird hybrid, which is the album of almost like a moving emotion with all the insanity and unforeseeability and desperation and, you know, everything that an emotion and a body does.
I love that visceral feel to it, though, that it comes throughout your body. That's an amazing process to work through. Now, and of course, the music business is so fickle and changed now, because you do. I mean, it went from starting out creating albums and then releasing singles to now you create the singles and then the album. Do you always kind of keep, as you're writing, a thread in your head for when an album might come to fruition, or is it totally just living the song at the time and then putting together this group of work?
Well, I've always loved and praised the album, and I'm never gonna stop listening to bodies of work like that. So it's very much made as an album, as a body of work, and I've basically like paid no attention on no, like, had no goal of having singles. I just made the music that I loved the most, and that my body and my brain and my emotions told me to do. And then I decided that I didn't want to put any pressure on like these specific songs that I think might be the hit single. I just wanted to create a journey with my listeners, where they got kind of a more full experience of how it is to create, and exactly how unpredictable it is to create. So these singles that have come out, there's been, 6 singles, and now the album is coming out on November 1st, but please don't consider them singles, because like I have no idea why anything becomes a hit single, or like I gave up on that, and I don't want to play that game. So I just gave more of the music a chance to live and find new people who could possibly connect with it, despite its complete weirdness and possibly like very not commercial potential.
I like that. And the album's title is perfectly to what you were saying. I mean, the secrets our bodies hold, that's literally you, right? This is coming through your body and you're kind of letting that out there. That's such a fantastic title for this. I kind of just must have written itself almost, right?
It kind of literally actually did. It's the second line of He's Dancing So Well. And He's Dancing So Well was one of the first songs I wrote for the album, but it took me ages to realize that I had made the album title right there. I was searching for all kinds of different album titles, but it was there all along.
Better than anything Chat GPT could have come up with, that's for sure. Keep away from that AI. I
Thanks so
love
much.
it. Now, as a queer artist, how does your identity been affecting your songwriter process? Do you find yourself mentally having to work with pronouns or things like that? Or do you find it just being part of the experience and you just being you? It seems like you're very true to yourself. And I think that's why you started your own label as well, right? It just kind of, it is what it is.
Yeah, I've put very little thought into it on this album. My last album, Biology, was, I guess, more of direct homage to queerness, and lyrically was extremely specific and almost political at times. And I thought about it a lot on that album, how to kind of balance queerness, how, I guess, to me, my queerness is, I mean, obviously it's an integrated part of me, but it's not something I think about a lot.
Right.
It's something that defines me in a very kind of uh unconscious way, I guess. So I'm always afraid of putting that front and center, because it isn't that important to me, but there is always a risk that it actually is a deal for people who might not like that.
Right.
So that's a constant discussion I have with myself, Scott, um because there's a part of that that's also internalized homophobia, I think.
Yes.
So I don't really have the answer to it, but I know that on this album it didn't really matter that much, because some different things came into focus, and there was a different kind of liberation in the emotional and physical creation of this album. So I guess sexuality felt, just as a completely natural way. That's the kind of pronouns I use when I sing about a love interest, or that. So completely natural, I think, on this one.
I love that, and that's our goal, right? We're just
Yeah.
everyone has their sexuality is a little part of everybody. It doesn't need to be front and center. Doesn't
Mm.
need the. It all has its kind of value to yourself, right? It's no one else's
Yeah.
business, but it doesn't need to be political. Sometimes it's good to be political. I mean, there's different artists that thrive in that, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it works best when you're just being yourself, right? And that's one of the things I love about exploring your music these last few months is you really do explore vulnerability in different parts of your work. How does this album overall kind of challenge or expand on those themes to you?
The So one of the side effects of having made music like this, since finding out at 10 that it helped pouring my emotions out into like a pop song, maximum 3 minutes and 30 seconds, is that I tend to do that sometimes exclusively. And I realized, as a grown up, that it has the side effect that I don't necessarily confide in people as much as I confide in my own music. And that's an issue for me personally. And one of the new songs, the latest songs that I released, "A Door, a Window," is about exactly that, like trying to find that gate to actually open up and share it with people. Because contrary to I guess your impression, I can be pretty closed off um to the people who love me, and I really don't want to be that. So that's definitely a goal probably one of the kind of lifelong goals. I think we all have those, that I need to constantly be aware of opening up and practicing to be as generous with myself to people, as I am in my music. Um, was that an answer? I feel like I went out on a complete rant.
No, that's I love that. I mean, and that's another thing that I love about your music. I mean, you have these electronic elements, these pop elements. I think one of my second favorite songs is "Love You to the Moon." I love a good
Mm.
brass section. You have that opening with the brass and the horns. It's absolutely amazing. And then you have these fantastic lyrics. You go everywhere from like a Madonna type sound to Frank Ocean to everyone in between. I just love that
Oh,
you can combine all these elements. You do it so well.
oh, you are hitting some major influences of mine. That I'm so happy to hear that. And yeah, "Love You to the Moon." That's like that. Like, if anything is a single on that album, it would be that one, right?
I love it. I absolutely love it. I mean, it's just so great. I love a good horn opening from the old time Chicago to just to
Mm.
really some bop and stuff. So yeah, it's great.
And it also, to me, it just sounds like that saxophone player is standing as like the loneliest saxophone player on the moon. That was the intention.
Well, talk about that. Like I said, I'm catching influence of everyone. I've seen definitely Troye Sivan. I've seen some, like I said, Madonna sounds and kind of moves
Mm.
to you. Definitely some Frank Ocean vibes to the emotions of it. Who are some of your biggest musical influences, and who are they still today?
I mean, Madonna has been huge for me. I remember watching the Papa Don't Preach video as a kid, and it just blew my mind. And that was kind of the moment I knew that I wanted to be a pop star. Because if you can be a pop star in that way, where you can actually, at the same time as having this body stocking and platinum blonde hair, at the same time sing about abortion rights. That's incredible.
Right.
That rocked my world. So she's been a huge influence. Um, and then at the art school I grew up, at the same time as having all of these, pop divas as my heroes. We uh, we played so much world music at the art school, and I was often a part of the lessons over there with my father. Um, so we would play, Rhythm of the Saints by Paul Simon, and we would
Yes.
explore, all kinds of uh, cultures, of drumming and dancing. And so at the same time, I think that's very much where I kind of position myself, somewhere between, looking at these global pop star phenomenons, and then at the same time having these roots in uh, in a way more kind of improvised and very unpop musical tradition. So I guess that's where a lot of these unexpected um, physical outbursts constantly come from in the music as well.
That is amazing. I love that. And talk about, I mean, between all your work with the students and touring with your own music and everything, you've really been out there. How does performing live shape your artistry at all? Do you find it kind of changes your aspect or anything? Do you find yourself kind of growing more when you're on the road than when you're in the studio? How's that dynamic for you?
God, yeah. I mean, one thing is these school concerts, which is so, it's such a, like, such an untypical situation for any musician. So we're used to, as musicians, playing concerts where people, if we're lucky, buy tickets for them, and they choose to see our shows, and that's incredible. um but it also means you're kind of pre-loved when you enter the stage. Not at the schools. Like that that is straight up, I'm every time I'm entering that gym which we play in the school gyms. It's confronting my own childhood trauma, and these evil teenage faces that are whispering and pointing and sometimes yelling things, and it's horrible.
Oh my goodness.
Most of the time. But then during 45 minutes we changed the atmosphere of this room, and they get to ask any question they'd like. So if anybody's, if anybody wants to know who's the man and who's the woman in a gay relationship, I'll answer that question, and without shaming them, and whatever questions they might have. Like I've answered every single question, whether I get it in the butt or when I gave my first blowjob, and like just let's get it out there. I happily answer those questions because I believe that by answering the questions, there's a part of that fear for the unknown that is hopefully extinguished in that moment, and they become a little less afraid, and thereby more loving or open towards the next queer or just any kind of tilted person they might meet. So Scott, like isolated, those school tours are the like a huge personal journey, and have given me so much stamina and belief in humanity,
Love that.
and in the future, for the future generation, and also in myself, because I am kind of concert by concert giving that little school kid Asbjorn a huge hug and saying, hey, like this is reality. Don't cling on to whatever happened then. Like it's
Beautifully said. That is so beautifully said. And I think kids are smart. They want to be spoken to honestly. And I think kids really enjoy that. I think that helps their growth. So that's the only way to do it. So I'm so impressed with that. That's amazing.
Yeah, and I'm definitely not like a proper grown up either, to them. Like I'm like they're just getting it completely not sugar coated, and like the show is also super, sexual in some ways, and it's like like yeah, I'm taking them out of school in school.
I love that. Well, talk about, I mean, you are so honest with your lyrics. You're a fantastic artist. How do you navigate that balance between creating music for yourself and then making it accessible to the public? It seems like you're just very much, it's you. Whether take it or leave it, this is going to be you and this is your sound. Or do you ever find yourself kind of walking that tightrope as, this might need to be a little more commercial? Or how do you stay true to yourself?
Well, I definitely did think about that on the last album, on Biology. The creative approach on that album was very deliberately exploring conformity in sound somehow. It was I made it my goal to actually honor my pop heroes, and I did to an extent. It sounds way more commercial, Biology, as an album. But what happened instead was that I freaked out in the lyrics and made that extremely private. I definitely crossed that line between personal and private that a lot of people believe should exist. And it became uncomfortably, queer and involving people in some things that I didn't think I would ever write about. So I guess bottom line, I always find a way to fuck it up even though I wanna, even though I'd love to make a shitload of money and be the best selling artist. Like, of course I've had that dream, but I think with experience from releasing so much music by now, nah, I just can't do it. Like, and I don't want to do it. So it's definitely become easier and easier with every failed attempt at trying to be commercial to just say, well, I mean, there's so many artists that do that with so much integrity. You know, I love so many of those highly commercial, sugary pop stars, but I can't do it. And if I tried to do it, I wouldn't be the best. There wouldn't be a reason that people should listen to me over them. So in this kind of smaller pond where I navigate, there's a reason for people to listen to me, and because nobody else does it like me right here. um and 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 it's gonna be a smaller club. It is a smaller club, but I've found great peace and happiness in my little club.
I
But there's
love
space
that.
for
You
more,
just
so like you can totally join, but just know that it's kind of an inner circle of the
You
pop
deserve
industry.
all the happiness, my friend. And I think authenticity shines through. And I think you're going to find, I think people are surprised when, like I don't know the last album as much, so commercially how successful and
Mm.
everything, but I think
No,
I
it was
see
a
you
huge
really
flop.
starting to come into your own with each song that I've seen released since June. I just see you coming in your own a little more and just getting this larger circle of influence and everything. And I think it's
Mm.
because of that authenticity that you're showing. So good on you, my friend.
Yeah, and it's all thank you, and it's also super interesting to see, because I do feel that apart from, you know, that that it is actually commercially working better than I've tried before. And it's interesting because, like, a part of it possibly has something to do with having done this for a while and becoming better at it, for sure. But a part of it is also about how the world changes and what kind of themes and developments we're seeing these years. And and I think for pop music, it's such a golden age. The genre has completely exploded into into this really open field where, like, nobody knows what
Right.
pop is anymore, and that means freedom. So if I should give any advice to any artist out there, is like, the rules are not there anymore. Like, you just gotta go with what feels best for you. and
Love that.
and and I think if you do that, you'll have like a longevity for one. You'll have longevity, and that's one of the most important things as an artist. And and I think you might have a better shot at making it, basically.
I think that's such great advice, and I think we need to wrap up on that note because I don't think we can do
Mm.
any better than that advice, my friend. I want to play out "New Moon, Same Old Me."
Mm.
Again, we're talking about Brimheim, who I guess you knew for like 10 years before you really started collaborating. You knew each other back in school, right? Talk about how was it for this collaboration to come about.
I mean, we've known of each other and met each other about 10 years ago, and then we met about 2 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, and suddenly it clicked, and we were like, okay, you need to be my friend. And I started visiting her and her wife Lori in Malmö, Sweden, where they live, and just like going on weekends. And obviously we would talk about music, the industry, and creating. And involve each other heavily in those processes and mirroring each other in that. And then, you know, I was making the album at the same time, and I had this song that felt like a very relational song, and I wrote it about a relation, but it was pretty one-sided in my own version. So like I think we're like, both Helena Brimheim is called, Helena and I are like friends and equally fanboy and girling over each other. So like with a very, very little voice, I asked her, so Helena, I have this song, do you think like would you at all be interested in maybe maybe singing it with me and writing it with me? And she said yes, and we wrote the like we finished the song together. Wow. And I'm so proud of it, and getting to perform it with her, and that has seen this this success and been one of the most played songs on Danish radio. And like, you know, it's so beautiful because that's our friendship being blasted out to millions of people. Yeah, so it's very close to my heart, this one.
Well, it's an amazing song. We're going to play out within a second. I did think of a question that I forgot to write down, and I want to ask one last question, because I remember, like I said, I've been following you now for 5 months or so on social media, and you and Brimheim went into this conversation on there once. Do you think or write in Dutch or whatever dialect you're using, or in English? Because you're so good, you're both so good at English and everything, but you also have your native language. How do you write and how do you create?
Well, again, there are so many amazing Danish artists who are singing in Danish, not in Dutch though. So and I think my poetic language has just always been English, because I looked up to international pop stars who sang in English. So to me, it's always been pretty natural. And then I guess there are, like, if you ever go back, like way back into my discography and listen to the first album, woo, there are some real spicy English on that.
I have homework. I like it. I like having homework. That's fun.
So I guess, you know, gradually it maybe I could pass a little more as a native English speaker, but back then, hell no.
I love it. Well, Asbjorn, please remind everyone when the album's coming out, where they can find this fantastic music, and where they can follow you on social media, my friend. That's the big thing these days.
Hell yeah. Okay, so my friends, if you want to be part of this inner circle of freaky pop music, you should go hang out with me, maybe on Instagram or TikTok. I'm Asbjorn Music on there. If you want to listen to the album, The Secret Our Bodies Hold, it's out on November 1st. I can't wait to share it with you all.
Asbjorn, congratulations, my friend. I'm so lucky to have an advance copy, so thank you so much for that. As I always tell all my listeners every time, don't be cheap-ass bastards. Don't be streaming. Go buy the music. Support these independent artists that are so fantastic, and Asbjorn deserves every accolade for it. We're going to play out now with New Moon, Same Old Me, with collaboration with Brimheim. You've been listening to the Left of Str8 Show. You got to come back again, my friend. This was a fantastic interview. I appreciate you.
Oh, I loved this, Scott. Thanks so much for reaching out. It was a pleasure.
Stay on the line for me, guys. We're going to have 5 questions with Asbjorn next week, so be sure to look for that. And we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining us right here on Left of Str8 Show Interviews. Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.
There's a lot of drama in the sky. No light, but the thunder in your eyes. We drift, but you always circle back around my orbit. Are you in or are you out? So high, so low, trying to build a future on a rolling stone. Impossible. Do I bore you, baby? New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. Boy child, swimming straight into a hurricane. Kicking hard, thinking you were gonna float. Wild woman, brand new. You can buy me where the waves they break. Look up if you ever lose your way. Don't fight, don't pray. Always knew that I was never yours to save. Oh, what a waste. You know me better. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. Here comes the sun, everything moves. Here comes the sun, I still love you. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. New moon, same old me. New moon, new you. Here comes the sun, everything blooms. Here comes the sun, I still love you.
Thanks for listening to The Left of Str8 Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website for contests and other news and information. See you next week.